Audio check 1 2 1 2.
It's just the live stream is over. You have to refresh.
Yeah. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Got it.
It's just the live stream is over. You have to refresh.
Yeah. Okay, welcome. It's John Botel. I'm sorry we're running a little bit behind here. We had some terrible audio problems, some glitch with Google Hangouts, which this whole system runs through. Just let me know that you can now see my screen and that you can hear me by letting me know in the chat box. If you haven't already started your chat with me, please do so now. And then if you have any questions, I can just look at them and answer them straight away. We're testing out this new chat system by Talk. And I hope it's going to work. So please let me know if you can hear me and see my screen just by giving me a 1 and a 2 in the chat box and send that through, and then we can get right into the actual meat and potatoes of the content. Okay, audio check 1 2 1 2. Can anybody hit me? Please let me know you can hear me, and we can go right ahead. Okay, looks like we've still got some kind of audio issues going on. Let me just check my monitor. Okay, looks like we've still got some kind of audio. Yeah, audio seems to be working fine here. I am getting lots of people telling me, though, that they're having issues with their audio. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with it. I can just see some more messages coming through. Oh, there we go. It looks like things are clearing out now. Okay, I'm going to give this a go. Obviously, we've got some weird audio or internet issues. These kind of things happen when you're broadcasting all around the world. We'll do what we can. We'll do our best. So we're going to jump right into it, not waste any more time, see how much we get done. Hopefully, we'll get through the whole thing, and I'll get as much of this training to you as humanly possible. So you're here for the 7 Wonders of Online Success. My name is John Botel. Let me just start the presentation here. So as I said, this is me, John Botel. I am a full-time online entrepreneur. I've been selling products on the internet and selling ways as well, not just the internet, for over 15 years. I have launched multiple 6 and 7 and even 8-figure businesses online. But I assure you it wasn't always that way or even that simple as I make it sound. I actually was a high school dropout. I dropped out of school at 15 years old. I had big dreams. I knew exactly what I was going to do with my whole life. I had big dreams of becoming a successful rock and roll star. And yes, that is me. Please don't judge. This was the late 80s. So that's kind of how we all looked with me and the band. And we did that for many years. I gigged up and down and around the country and the world, and really without any great success, to be honest. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good times, a lot of good memories, but we didn't really ever hit the big time, never really any big success, just, you know, kind of minor acts, supporting acts, that kind of thing. But what happened is in 1999, my son was born. And that was like a huge wake-up call for me, because that kind of lifestyle is great and wonderful if it's just you or you and your partner. When I had another mouth to feed, things took on a whole different level of seriousness. And I knew I had to kind of put that to one side and concentrate on trying to get a real career or a real job. But that's a problem, because, you know, I left school, as I said, at 15, no qualifications, hadn't really worked a proper job in a good long time. So I, you know, kind of standard kind of avenues were closed to me for the kind of lifestyle I wanted for my family. You know, I couldn't just walk into somewhere and get an executive job. I didn't have the kind of background or the CV to allow me to do that, you know, nobody was going to hire me to do that kind of job. So I was left with little options. I had to kind of look at sales jobs, which kind of, you know, didn't require those kind of credentials. And that's what I ended up doing. I tried many different things. I sold windows door to door. I sold local restaurant coupons door to door. I did telesales, you know, so many different kind of distance selling jobs over the phone, face to face. Got involved in lots of different schemes. Every multi-level scheme that you can think of, I tried it out. But remember, this was like early 2000, 99, 2000, maybe into 2001. So we were right in the area of the dot-com boom. You know, there were companies that were just sticking .com at the end of their names and flipping the company for millions and millions of dollars. So that I kind of gravitated towards that online world and started sticking my toe in that water. And that's the thing that the only thing I tried that really kind of appealed to me and stuck with me. And maybe it was just like my creative side it stuck to in the marketing and creating websites and that sort of thing. But whatever it is, I stuck with internet marketing. And believe me, it wasn't that I had any great success in it. I really, really didn't. You know, we were making money doing the online sales over the internet, but not kind of any great consistency. It was very, very up and down, very, very volatile. And I'm sure a lot of you on the call today can relate to that, where you've been trying to make money online, and, you know, some months you make some, the next months, you know, it's like feast or famine. That's exactly how it was for me. And I did that for about 10 years, you know, progressing a little bit, always moving upwards a little bit, but never with the consistency that I wanted. And I'd always imagined, I'd seen these guys doing so well online. And I always imagined they must have this really crazy, complicated system for making money. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to think of all these really, really complex, you know, huge sites with all these moving parts to them. And then in about 2009, 10, so I was in a meeting, and it wasn't even somebody that I was speaking to within this meeting. It was like a group of us, and it was like an off-the-cuff comment that somebody made off to the side of me. I don't even know who the guy was, but something like, it was like a light bulb moment. I remember it so very, very clearly. I don't remember the guy's name. I don't think I may not have even been introduced to him, but it was like a light bulb moment for me. And after that, I kind of scurried home back to the Bat Cave and sat down in front of the computer and deconstructed everything I'd been doing. And it was at that point that the very inception started of what I now call the 4 S's. And all that stands for is the Simple Site Sales System. Okay? And all that entails is just 3 elements. You know, I've been building these big, complicated sites, and I didn't need to. At its core, all you need to have a successful online business is 3 elements. Okay, I'm going to talk about what those elements are a little later on. But know that if you're trying to overcomplicate things, remember the KISS principle, yeah? Keep it simple, stupid. And that's true, that simple things work. Now, over the years, I've actually kind of branched out from this a little bit. But at its core, 3 elements are all you need. And it's these essential 3 elements that allowed me to build a business that generated these kind of revenues. You know, 3 million, 2 million one, 3 million 7, 4 million one, 4 million one again. And these are regular deposits into my bank account. Now, I'm not trying to kid anybody, complete open and clarity on this. These are obviously gross figures. There are lots of costs involved in this. So, you know, I don't ever want anybody to think that I got that money and was able to take that home. I would that it were, I would love it. But, you know, there are lots of costs come off there. But please believe me, I've done very well. I have a wonderful lifestyle due to this system. And again, please don't think I'm showing you this stuff to brag or show off or anything like that. The only reason I'm showing you this is so that you can believe that the training I'm going to show you afterwards can have this effect on you. Maybe not to this level, you know. I'm not claiming that anybody will get the same kind of revenues that I got, but certainly you can find success online by following the steps that I'm going to go into later. And I just want, you know, people to, there are so many con artists and scam people out there in the marketplace. I want people to know that I'm the genuine deal. I've been there, I've done it, I've made a lot of money on the internet. And it still is my primary way of making money. I don't make money from, I make a little bit of money from passing on the stuff I know, but you know, I make the primary amount of my income from selling products online. That's what I do. And this simple site sales system allowed me to go from struggling to pay the mortgage on this house. This is where I was living at the time. And don't again think there's nothing wrong with this house. It's a perfectly nice house, but it's obviously, you know, just a very small, compact house. It's nice. Nothing wrong with it, but I only show you this to illustrate the changes that this system made in a relatively short period in my life, because at the time I was struggling to be paying the mortgage on this. As I said, volatility. Some months were fine, other months, you know, were way down, and I just had no way of knowing each month to month what was going to be coming in. I needed consistency. And the moment I started implementing the 4 S's, the simple site sales system, I started seeing differences in my business, more consistent, higher volumes. And it allowed me in, I think it was a 3-year period, to go from struggling to pay the mortgage on that to actually purchasing this place in cash. Now, again, I don't want to think I'm just showing you this stuff to show off or brag. It is nothing to do with that. I'm just illustrating the difference that it made to my life and can make to your life as well. It's also a system that is designed to allow you to work from anywhere and create the lifestyle that you want. This is me hard at work on my boat. We live out in the Lakes region. All I need is a laptop and a little hotspot, Wi-Fi hotspot, and I can run this business from absolutely anywhere. I can run it out from the lake. I can run it from the beach. I can run it from a hotel. I can run it while we're on a cruise. I can run it absolutely anywhere at all. This business runs predominantly on autopilot, and the rest of the time I can just run it wherever I am in the world. It is a great lifestyle, and one that I would really recommend everybody try to follow. And we're going to talk about that in the 7 steps that we're going to go through very, very shortly. But I understand that people have skepticism and doubt about these kind of success stories. I get that. It's perfectly healthy, and you should do. It's a protection mechanism to protect you from people who would try to take money out of your pocket without delivering you value. That's not me. That's not what I'm about. I'm going to give you the value first. You know, I'm not going to ask for anything. I'm just going to give you value. So there are so many people out there that just want to take and take and take in the industry, and you know, don't really have any credentials to back it up. And that's why you should have that skepticism in you. But it's my job now to let you believe in me and break down that skepticism, because you need to know that the information I'm going to give you in about 2 minutes is genuine, and it will really help move you forward. Because if you don't believe that, you won't act on it and you won't get the results. And that's what you need to do. You know, I can give you all the information in the world, but unless you act on that information, nothing is ever going to happen. So I want you to believe. I want everybody to believe that everything I'm telling them is the gospel truth, because then they're going to have results for themselves. And I went a slightly different way about it. I know that the claims I make are outlandish. I've had. So I actually kind of went the extra mile, as anybody that knows me kind of understands that I'm prone to doing. And I actually subjected myself to a 100% independent polygraph lie detector test, so that you know that I'm the real deal. What I'm telling you is true. So just take a look. I had this very quick video made of the polygraph test. Take a look, and I'll be back with you in just 2 minutes.
All this equipment you see on the table in front of you is a computerized polygraph instrument. All the attachments, when I actually have them attached to you and I'm asking you a question set, it's going to send all the information from the box and then across the screen instantly as it happens. Okay. Now I'm going to go over these attachments one by one here. This here is a motion pad sensor. Blood pressure cuff. Same thing you see at the doctor's office when they're taking your blood pressure. Here we have pneumograph tubes, there's 2 of them. I'm placing the first one across your upper chest, which is above the heart.
Okay.
The other one's going across your abdomen below the heart. And between the 2 of them, they're going to monitor the air capacity in your lungs.
All right, okay.
And last, I have these. These are called electrodermal tabs. These will be placed on your fingertips. Please be perfectly still. We have begun chart 1. Has your business generated over $87 million in online sales?
Yes.
Are the numbers on your signed written statement 100% accurate and genuine?
Yes.
Do you generate the numbers on your written statement without any website coding skills while working from your home office?
Yes. So there we have it. That was the polygraph test. This is the results from the polygraph test. This is the guy who did it. You can check him out. Google him by all means. He is a genuine polygraph examiner. Obviously, I've blanked out his telephone numbers. He wouldn't want me showing those around, but you could Google him and find him. I don't have a problem with that. And here's the results. R1 and R2 are the questions that he asked, came back as truthful responses. R3 actually came back as inconclusive because that was the question about, it wasn't a very well phrased question. That's my fault because I designed the questions. But the question was actually, do you have any technical, did I create those sums without having any technical abilities? Obviously, that's very subjective. I can, I can send an email, but I can't code a website. Where does technical lie? So that was the reason that he felt that came back as inconclusive. But the questions that you need to be concerned about really about the money and the screenshots that I show, 100% truthful. So I hope that gives you some confidence that I know what I'm doing. And now what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes and these steps that you need to have success online, that you can trust what I'm going to say is coming from a position of fact and a position of truthfulness. So let's get started. I just need to open up. I'm just going to stop this slide right here. I just need to quickly open up a little program on the computer, which I've forgotten to do. So just give me 1 minute to get that open. Applications. I just need to open up, where is it? Ink to go, there it is. There it is, opening up now. I can restart this. Perfect. Okay, let's jump right into this now. Because the first thing that you need to get done, and we're going to go through these in order because you can't put the cart before the horse. These are the order. All 7 steps need to be correct in order to have a really successful online business. But we're going to go through them in order so that you can kind of understand which way things should be done. And the first thing you need to think about is mindset. You have to have the correct type of mindset in order to succeed, because successful entrepreneurs are just wired a little bit differently than regular Joe Blogs people on the street. But nobody was ever born a successful entrepreneur. It happens to them by circumstance, environment, situations, serendipity, whatever you want to call it. Successful entrepreneurs are made. They aren't born, they're made. And if that's true, then you can train your brain. You can train your brain to think that different way. Because what we're talking about really is being 100% goal oriented, to the point of being blinkered sometimes. It's having that ability to shut off the distractions coming into you left and right. The temptations from Facebook and YouTube and friends asking you to go out to dinner and calling you, and being able to blinker those things off and focus 100% in on your goals to achieve your goals. Now, that doesn't make you a particularly easy person to live with sometimes. And there is a balance to be found, to be sure. But being goal-oriented will make a massive difference to your life. You have to have PMA. You have to have positive mental attitude. And the reason that you've got to have that as an entrepreneur, is because no business in the world ever grew like this. Okay, it just doesn't happen. Yeah, they just don't. Businesses grow like this. They start off at the same place, but they grow like this. Run out of room on my pad. Okay, so as you can see, they actually start and end at exactly the same place. So the curve is the same, but the difference is when you start here, both starting here, okay? But what happens is when you're up here, everything's great. Your sales are increasing, your profitability is increasing, everything's good. Then you get this road bump that takes you down here. Okay, now, once you have a sudden decline in sales, and you don't know how long this could last. This could be, a week, a month, 2 months. You don't know how long that could last. And if you allow yourself to be consumed by the worry of this downward trajectory, and if you allow it to distract you from your being goal-oriented and your main job, which is effectively driving more and more sales, then what happens is this will just continue down and down and down and down until it falls off the screen. You don't have a business anymore. So what you have to do, you have to have that positive mental attitude to be able to drive you through these low spots back up to the high spots, in the knowledge that there's always going to be low spots again. And that's incredibly important, and an incredibly important concept to understand, that despite there being low spots, a successful entrepreneur knows that if he does all the correct things, if he doesn't lose his head and continues driving forward and adding new plans and trying to drive new sales continually, eventually he will have the break and he will move up again. And that comes into positive mental attitude. It also feeds in to having a drive, passion, and enthusiasm. Now, this is not to be confused with a terrible piece of business advice, which I don't know who said it, but somebody came up with the notion that if you follow your passion, the profit will follow. That is just nonsense. Okay, it doesn't work that way. There are plenty of things that people are passionate about that just couldn't make good and successful businesses. But what you should have passion and drive and enthusiasm for is every aspect of your business. Have drive, passion, and enthusiasm for serving your customers, for building systems, for creating sales copy that resonates with your customer. Have enthusiasm and passion about the whole process of having your own business. I love my business. I love coming to work every single day. It fills me with inspiration and passion to be able to serve people and to be able to provide them with real quality products that they actually can use and get real benefit from. It's my job to find that enthusiasm every day and spread that word to as many people and be, evangelical about it to some degree. Now, a lot of these points, a lot of these areas here are helped and supported by the final point, which is very important, which is having efficiency through organized planning. Because if you're not planned out correctly and carefully and well diarized, and things are laid out so you know exactly what's happening, and you have routines every day that you do every day, you're just running around a bit like a headless chicken. And when you do that, when you're running around just desperately fighting fires and doing things that you've forgotten to do, then you can't be goal oriented. You can't have a positive mental attitude because you're just too busy putting out fires, and it saps your drive and your passion and your enthusiasm for your business. So really, A great deal of all mindset starts here through having efficiency through organized planning. Because once that's done, it's like wiping the slate clean. Yeah, it's like hitting the reset switch. You know, the desk is clear, your emails are clear, your all your filing's done, and it's like hitting the reset switch so that you know exactly what you need to do today, and you have it planned out. And once you have that planned out, that allows you to build that drive, passion, enthusiasm, positive mental attitude to hit your goals. Okay, so that's the first step, mindset. You have to get your mindset right. Second step in the 7 is niche research and product development. Okay, because even Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, perhaps the greatest salesman in the world, cannot sell to an empty room. Yeah, if there's nobody to sell to, you cannot sell anything. So niche research is incredibly important. But picking that hungry niche, it isn't art and it isn't guesswork. It is 100% pure science. Okay. Now, because of this, it isn't the most exciting part of building a business. I get that. I understand. What we're talking about here is really doing research, deep analytical research. And you know, when people start their business, what they want to be able to do is they want to be able to show people what they're doing. I understand. I get it. They want to be able to show them the brand new company logo they've just had done. They want to show them the brand new website. They want to show them the brand new product they've developed. They want to show them tangible things that somebody can say, wow, that's great. I'm really pleased for you. That is difficult to do with niche research because it's an internal thing. You're doing it inside. And if you showed it to somebody, it would probably be the most boring thing in the world. You're talking about numbers on a page, just analytical research. Now, it is boring. It is dull. It is tedious. But without a doubt, it is 100% necessary. Okay, if without doing proper niche research and in-depth niche research, you are literally building your business empire, your castle business on a base of quicksand. I cannot stress this more importantly, that you are building on quicksand if you don't do your niche research correctly. I consult for a lot of people. Okay. And a lot, you know, one of the areas I consult on a lot is if people's websites aren't selling very well or they're not converting very well. And almost always they come to me and they say, we have a copy problem, people aren't buying. And almost always when I check it out and I look into it, yes, copy can always be improved and split tested and made better. But 90% of the time, the problem isn't at all in the copy. It's more to do with the fact that it is not carefully done niche research. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to force they're trying to force like a square peg product into a round hole niche. And to some degree, you can do that if, you know, you hit it hard enough and you shave the sides off, but you're never going to have as easy job selling as if you do it the other way around. So this is the way it needs to be done. You pick a hungry niche first, because once you have picked that hungry niche, or that I like to call it a ravenous barrel of hungry fish, all you have to do then is develop, find, or create a product that feeds into the appetite of that hungry barrel of fish. And then the sales process is easy. You can have really crap sales copy and still sell a ton of product just because you've done your niche research correctly. So that's the way it goes. Niche research first, product development second. Do not do it the way around. Okay, that's stage 2. Stage 3, you've picked your niche. Now it's time to actually create the product. Now, I don't want anybody to get hung up on product creation. Although you have to have something to sell. Obviously, you have to have something. And that can be anything. It can be a physical product, you know, pharmaceuticals, calculators, computers, microphones, wallets, iPhones, something tangible you actually have to send. It can be a digital product like information and membership sites, or it could be a software product, which I know again is for all intents and purposes digital these days, but the way you create it is different, so it's split out separately. Or you can sell a service. Those are the only 4 things that really exist: physical, digital, software, or service. Those are only 4 elements. Okay, but don't get hung up about it. Because I'm not saying that you need to have a factory, or even that you actually need to, joint venture with a business to manufacture for you. At its very simplest form, you can have your very own product just by producing a sticky label. That's in its purest, simplest, down-to-earth form. You can buy a product from somebody else that has no brand on it, stick your label on it, it then becomes your product. And I encourage everybody to make their own products. Yeah, if you're selling products that everybody else in the world has the opportunity to sell, then you're just a me too. You're having to compete constantly on price. You're having to compete constantly on service. You're going to have to tell the same story pretty much that everybody else is telling. Whereas if you create your own brand, your own label, you can tell your own story. You can charge your own price. You can build your own cachet. A Gucci t-shirt is no different in essence to any other t-shirt. The fact it has a Gucci logo on it means that you can sell it for $150. And that's the difference. Okay. The one thing you do have to make sure your product does is it has to fill the need for your audience, your hungry barrel of fish, that niche that you've selected. It has to fill a need that they have. And ideally, that should be something to either take away their pain or their fear, or from the other side, make them more efficient, more profitable, more attractive, or more successful. So there's 2 sides that you can look at it. It can, ideal products will actually do both. They will be a bit of carrot and stick. So the stick will be something to take away a fear or a pain. Make them slimmer, make them highlighting their health issues. Make them run away from a problem. And 2, something else. Like a better lifestyle, being able to have more energy to deal with their kids, that kind of thing. There's always carrot and there's always stick. The best products in the world kind of can highlight both sides of that for your potential customer. So that's the product creation side dealt with. Now, number 4 is the site build. You've done your niche research. You've focused in on the product that you're creating. Now you have to have a way to tell the world about this awesome product. Not even really the world. You just have to have a way to tell your niche, your well-defined niche, how awesome your product is. But certainly, it's not something you need to worry about because, as I said earlier, I have sold over $87 million worth of products online, and I could not code a website if you put a gun to my head. But if you remember way back at the beginning of the presentation, I talked about the simple site sales system. Just those 3 simple pages that you need. And now we're going to talk about those pages very simply, because all you need in its essence to have a successful online business that can sell millions of dollars worth of products is a landing page, an upsell page, and a thank you page. Those are the only 3 essential pages you need. Yes, you can improve it. Yes, you can add some nice things. You might need to add a checkout page in between, depending on how you build it. You probably want to add some downsell pages to capture people trying to leave your account. But in its essence, you only need 3 pages. Now, what does this mean for you? Number 1, it means it's extremely cheap to outsource it. 3-page websites cost nothing to have outsourced. Literally nothing. Very, very quick, very, very cheap to do. But it also means that it's very, very simple for you to do yourself if that's what you want to do. When I started way back in the early 2000s, this was not an option. You had to outsource. Yeah, it was expensive to outsource as well. But these days, there's so many people doing it, the price has dropped. But also in the early 2000s, we didn't have the kind of technology that they have today that allows even complete novices to be able to build really, really first-class websites in a very short period of time. and with only 3 pages to build, I assure you that you could definitely do it using things like lead pages, ClickFunnels, Optimize Press, WordPress. All of those kind of systems are now available that allows you to build these websites on a budget yourself with just time invested. So website building, you don't have to worry about it. Excuse me. Because all you have to do is have 3 simple pages. Okay, number 5 is automation. A little bit of feedback from you guys now, if you could. I'd just like to get some answers to the question that you can see. Hang on, wait for it on screen. I can see it in the monitor now. I'm assuming everybody on this presentation, we have, I don't know, maybe 50 people listening to us right now. And welcome to you all, by the way, welcome. I didn't say that at the beginning because of all the technical issues we were having, but welcome to everybody who's here. So, automation. Everybody here, I'm assuming, wants to be an online entrepreneur of some sort. Yeah, that's what they want. But let me know why. Just shoot it in the chat box. Let me know, what is it for you that you want to be an online entrepreneur for? What is it about being an entrepreneur that excites you? What is your goals for being an entrepreneur? Just let me know in the chat box. I'll just wait for them to come through. I know it takes a minute because we have a slight delay with Hangouts. I'll take that time to take a sip of my drink. Okay, let's have a look. There we go. We're getting some right answers coming in. It wasn't a test, by the way. You don't get graded on this. There's no prizes. Unfortunately, sorry about that. Okay, so John, great name, John, by the way. John says money. And yes, of course. Yeah, you can get a lot of extra money. And Lorna is saying freedom. And I don't know who that is. It doesn't come up and say for some reason, but they're saying freedom as well. Lots of people saying freedom. Martin is saying to escape. I guess that's kind of the same thing, escape from his job, which I guess is freedom as well. Yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty much on the same wavelength, which is cool. Absolutely great. You all have the same kind of ideas. So yeah, I wrote down a few. Money, for sure, we had that one. Nice cars didn't come up, but it has come up in previous webinars. Yeah, people, you know, why not? It's lovely to be able to go out and buy a brand new car, get that new car smell. I'll never forget the first time when I could afford to do that. You know, I'd always bought used cars before, and it's never quite the same. There is nothing quite like walking into a car dealership, buying the car you want without worrying about it and just taking it, that first drive, that new car smell. It's pretty amazing. And a nice house, of course. You know, why not? But, you know, all of that doesn't really have any meaning or any benefit to you if you're chained to your desk for 16 hours a day. So loads of people got it right. Because what I think is the reason that people want to be entrepreneurs is because of freedom. They want to be escaping from that daily commute. I know people that commute for 4 hours a day, you know, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, sat in a metal box. Freedom from that commute, freedom from jobs that they hate, freedom from a boss they hate, freedom to be able to work when they want, where they want, freedom to watch their family grow up. But you can't do any of that if you're chained to a desk. So what you have to do, you saw the picture of me earlier, I can work from the boat, I can work from anywhere. You have to build automation systems within your structure so that you can run this thing from anywhere. You don't have to be there. You don't have to be watching a team of people. Or if you do have a team of people that you can monitor, you can, you know, remotely deal with them, and they have all of the structure that they need without you being there. Your job as the entrepreneur is to build. You know, you're the person that builds it. You're not necessarily the person that needs to run it. Okay? Your job as entrepreneur is to build it big, build it fast, build it strong, make sales, strong sales revenues, and then just watch the cash come in. You shouldn't have to be sitting on top of it like a hawk. That's not the aim of the game here. So yeah, that is the 5th step, automation. 6th step is the one that I get most questions about than any other issue. I get more questions about traffic. Okay? Now, the funny thing about traffic is actually you don't have to worry about it at all. Because if you get all of the previous stages worked out and perfected, then free traffic will actually flow to you. And let me say that again, because a lot of people don't quite understand it. Once you get all the previous stages worked out, that is the mindset, very important, the niche research, the product development, the website build, and the automation. Once you have all of those things correct and working like a well-oiled machine, like cogs just working in and out of each other, then free traffic will flow to you. You will never, I repeat, never have to worry about driving traffic again, because your operation is going to be set up so perfectly that other people will line up to drive traffic for you. Okay, it is the most leverageable part of your business to allow other people to drive traffic for you. Now, why would they do that? Very simply, because you're going to pay them a commission for sending you traffic, and they only get paid when they make sales. So effectively, it costs you nothing other than a proportion of your sales. So it's not speculative, there's no risk involved. You just have to make sure your operation is set up to attract these people. And of course, I'm talking about affiliate marketing. You attract these affiliates to you by having a perfectly set up system. As I said before, over 87 million, nearly $90 million of products sold, and I didn't drive a single customer to do that because my operation was set up so perfectly that other people lined up by the droves to send their traffic to me, because it was easy for them to make money off of me, and hence easy for me to make money. It's a win-win situation. That's what you're looking for. So you don't need to worry about traffic. In fact, it's almost like a non-step. I have to put it in there because people always ask me about it, but it's almost like the non-step of the 7-step system. If you get everything else worked out, all 5 previous steps, then free traffic will flow to you. So we've reached it. Final stage, final step, step number 7, the back end. Now, in many ways, this is the single most important cog in the wheel, because this is where you monetize. Okay? Most online entrepreneurs, no, I'll rephrase that. All successful online entrepreneurs are happy if they can break even on the initial point of getting a customer. They are happy. If they can make money at that point, they're delighted, but they'll accept breaking even, or even in many cases, accepting a small loss at the point of gaining the customer, because they know that at the back end is where they can monetize that customer, because they can upsell to those customers, they can cross-sell to those customers, they can move those customers up what Russell Brunson calls is a value ladder. And let me just show you an example of what a value ladder might look like. So we could have a value ladder, something like this. I'm just going to draw you a really quick example here. Okay, we're going to call this a value ladder, and we're going to use real estate as an example of this. Okay, so we're going to start with real estate. Okay, and we're going to say, okay, to get people into our funnel, we're going to offer like a really, something like a cheap report, maybe like between a $5 to $10 report that they can get. And let's take, for example, real estate investment opportunities in Southern Florida, or even Southern Miami. Could be, you can target it down as low as you want. Okay, so here you're going to have that report. Let's call it $10. It's really almost like I'm not going to say throwaway, because you could probably make money on this, but you're not going to make a lot of money, even if you do. Your point here is to break even. Okay, so that's going to be like the report. Okay, then the next step of your value ladder, and this can all be done through the back end. Okay, your next step here is going to be something a bit more. So you're looking at maybe then moving up to maybe like between a $27 and like a $40 product. So let's say $37 for maybe like a specialized video presentation. Okay, and that will be going into, you know, even more detail. And then the next stage up the value ladder is going to be, oops. Okay, not sure what happened there. There we go. The next stage up the value ladder is going to be something like, you know, it might be like a $99 webinar, live webinar. That's going to give them some more information. Okay, and then moving them up the value ladder, probably in this webinar, you'll try to sell them into maybe like a $500 live event package. Yep. And then at the top of this, you've got the investment, which could be part of an investment club, maybe $5,000 or a coaching or something like that. And see, you're getting them in here. And of course, not everybody that buys this is going to end up here, but a percentage of them will. And that's the point. This is what we do with the back end. We can bring people in at low values and move them up our value ladder. That is the point. And that's not my term. I'm not claiming that. That's Russell Brunson's term. But the principle is the same. It's monetizing your back end. Now, affiliate marketers can never hit this kind of level of monetization. The reason being is they're so busy just sending traffic to other people's offers that they're never building their own list. And unless you're building your own list, you can never achieve that kind of level of monetization. Now, the smartest online entrepreneurs do both. So they have their own products, building their own list that they can move up their own value ladder. But at the same time, they're also taking selected offers from other people and offering them to their customers as well, for which they will get paid a commission on the other side, acting as an affiliate. And that's where you really begin to see monetization. You're selling your own products, you're moving your own customers up your own value ladder, and you're saying to those customers who now know you and like you and trust you, you're saying to them, hey, this guy's got a great thing that I think would be really interesting for you. It would really help move your business forward. It would really help make you more successful. Why don't you check it out and have a look at it? And when they do that and when they purchase that, you get paid a commission. And that way you're monetizing both sides. And that's what the smartest online entrepreneurs do. So don't for any minute let anybody tell you that email marketing is dead. It is not dead. It is alive and well and is the most profitable way to make a living online through email marketing. There is no doubt about it. Nobody would question the fact that you can make more money in email marketing than anything else, because that's where you monetize your back end. And regardless of what you're selling, it can be a service, a physical product, it doesn't matter. More money is generated through the back end email marketing than anything else. It is simply that important. So that's it. That's the 7 steps. That is the essential 7 steps that you need to have a really successful online business. And we're talking, let's recount them again, about mindset, niche research and product development, product creation, the site build, automation, traffic, and then the back end. All of them feeding in to that simple site sales system, which is very simply just a web page, an upsell page, and a thank you page that leads to back-end email marketing. 4 S's, simple site sales system. As I said, you can make that better by having downsells coming off the web pages so that you're capturing people who try to leave. But in its essence, that's all you need. Landing web page to sell your product, the upsell page to sell an additional product to get more monetization, and the thank you page with the email marketing backend. So that's incredibly simple. I tried for years to make this too complicated, and forgetting the KISS principle of keeping it simple, stupid. I overcomplicated my life, overcomplicated my business, when all you need is this. It honestly astounds me to this day at the mistakes that I see people make when they try to overcomplicate their business. So let me just move these around a little bit, because I'm going to tell you something now that, I don't readily admit to a lot of people. But, you know, I think it's important that people understand where I came from and how I found the success. Because in order to find the success that I've had, I had to master all 7 of these areas. Now, you know, occasionally I'd get it wrong. I'd get some of it right, find a little bit of success. But it wasn't until I kind of analyzed it all and figured out where I was falling down that I realized that, you know, you have to have them all working. You know, if you've got, hang on a second. If you've got the mindset working and you've got this working and this working and you've done the site build, you've got it all automated and you've got the traffic, but you forget the back end, yeah, you can make money, of course, but you're not going to be making the money you want. You know, you're not going to be hitting those 6-figure months, or in my case, 6-figure weeks. You know, you're not going to be hitting those because you don't have that back end. Same thing here. If you've got, you know, you got this, you've got this, you've got this. You've got the site build, but you don't have the automation sorted, but you still have traffic. Yeah, you can still make money. Of course you can, but you're going to be sat in front of your desk dealing with it all the time. You're not going to be able to spend it anyway. You're not going to be able to enjoy it. What's the point? Okay. And I've done that before, you know? So it took me, excuse me. Let me just take a sip of water here. It took me over 10 years to work this out. I told you before, I'm not the smartest knife in the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I admit it. I was a high school dropout. So it took me 10 years to figure this stuff out. And during that time, we almost lost everything more than once as I tried and sometimes failed to perfect, often failed to perfect this system. Now, it's incredibly ironic that it wasn't actually until I'd worked that out all on my own, 10 years of trial and error, and eventually sitting down and analyzing everything that I'd done and done wrong. Quite ironic. It wasn't until I'd actually developed my own system for success and worked out how to do that, that I discovered the secret that could have saved me all of those 10 years of battling, all of those 10 years of stress and worry, and sleepless nights and tears, and, you know, convincing my wife that, you know, this is still a good idea, you know, because I'm sure you've been there. If you've tried internet marketing and tried to make money online, and you keep coming up against brick wall after brick wall and failure after failure, you people start looking at you like you're a little bit crazy sometimes. Why are you continuing to do this? And I did that for 10 years. Until I kind of worked it all out. And there was a shortcut that if I'd have known about it, I would have grabbed with both hands. It would have saved me time, would have saved me so much money. I can't even, I daren't even think back about the money I've lost by not doing this. And of course, what I'm talking about is mentoring. And honestly, it never came across my radar. It just hadn't ever at all in my whole online career. I'd never come across this kind of online mentoring idea. It wasn't until I kind of was looking to move industry slightly away from my core and actually start building information products that I discovered this whole world of online mentoring. And I gotta be honest, when I first found out about it, I was really, really angry about all the wasted years. I mean, the mentor that I kind of approached when I wanted to build information products is a guy called Alex Jeffries. And Alex will tell you this as well. When I first spoke to him, I was, really mad. I was like, where were you 10 years ago? It turns out that 10 years ago, he was in the same boat that I was in, so it wouldn't have helped. But, he found his mentors and got him on the fast track to success on that information path. I didn't even come across my radar. So I was really angry about all those wasted years and money that I'd blown trying to do it on all on my own. And then I kind of calmed down. And it kind of dawned on me that if I'd managed to do all of that, sold $90 million of products all on my own without having anybody to tell me what to do, how much more could I do with somebody to show me the way in this new venture, in this new area? How much more can that build my business? And that kind of got me really excited. And the interesting thing about mentorship is that it's never just one person, because it's a little bit like a trickle down effect, like a waterfall, trickling down the side of a mountain, because, every mentor comes from a family tree of other mentors, essentially. And let me just walk you through mine really quickly, because right at the top of my family tree, if you like, is Jay Abraham, who is like Don Corleone, the godfather of any kind of distance selling or direct marketing or online sales. Anything where you're selling somebody to somebody who isn't in front of you, he is like the god of that. And he's right at the top of that family tree with me. Now, he was a mentor to a guy called Rich Schefren, who, again, is an incredibly successful entrepreneur, took over the family fashion business in New York, made that an incredible success, and then branched out into personal coaching, personal development, online sales. And he was coached by Jay in doing that. And obviously, Jay passes on his knowledge. Rich mixes that with his own knowledge of personal development and the fashion trade and how that business was built, and his own theories and principles. And he passes that on to his student, who is Mike Filsaime, who, again, is just like this huge god of online sales and software development. And, just a massive titan right from in the early days of the internet in building and selling huge amounts of online product. And he mixes those theories that Rich passed on to him with his own ideas and theories, and passes that on. Both of them, in fact, because Alex Jeffries was mentored by both Rich and Mike, and both of them filter their information through to Alex, who, again, has his own ideas and comes from his own different background, has his own concepts, and he mixes them all together and passes them on to me. So that's how it works. It's like a trickle down effect. You're getting the best information from some of the biggest people in the industry trickling down, to me. I don't class myself in that arena at all. These are great people in the information space. I'm just starting in the information space. In the online sales space, okay, yeah, all right, I'm up there, with some of the big players. But, this is a trickle down effect. It all comes through, and, that information gets passed down from mentor to mentor, from mentor to student. And the big question is, who's going to be next? Who's the next to get this trickle down effect? Because for a very select group of a very small number of people, I will work hand in hand with them to help build their online business. There isn't 20 slots available, as it says here. There's only a few left now because we just came off the back of a major launch, and a lot of the slots in the masterclass is gone. But I do work hand in hand with people, and it's a personal training and business development and mentoring that will put you on the fast track to online success, huge online success. But I only have limited time. I don't hand this out to like a team of people to do mentoring for me. It's just me. Okay, that's why I limit the space to 20 people. And it's only done by a strict application process, because I only want to work with people who are ready. Not everybody's ready to make this step, to make this leap. They're just not in the right mindset. They don't have the right work ethic. They're just not ready. So I only want to work with people I know have the right mindset. I'm going to have them succeed quickly. And that's why it's done by an application process. I assure you that huge online success, it's literally just on the horizon, just beyond your fingertips. All you have to have that desire to do is step up and take it. Just step up, put your hand out for some help, and I'll be there to take your hand and guide you to the success you're looking for online. So please, I encourage you to fill out the application today to be considered for the VIP Masterclass program. I'm going to leave the address on the screen there. It is just ecomsubscriptionpro.com/masterclass-application. So let me just send that address to everybody, so everybody has it at the very least. Okay, let's check that. There we go. Everybody has it now. So that is it for our presentation. If you have any questions about anything at all that we've discussed today in any of the 7 steps, now's the time. I'm opening up the floor for Q&A. Just get my teeth in. Just send your message through the chat box. I'll answer it to benefit everybody. I'm not going to answer it in text. I'm just going to read it out loud, and then everybody can get the benefit from your questions if they're a bit shy about asking questions themselves. And that's how it tends to go on these kind of webinars. We have like 50-odd people on. We get very few questions. As I tend to give out a ton of information, more and more people get worried about asking questions. People worry a lot about, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Okay, but plenty of stupid answers I could give, but stupid questions, no. If you don't understand something, now is the time to ask, and I'll stay here as long as is necessary to get it all answered very, very thoroughly. I don't have any time limit on this. Just go ahead, throw in the questions, and I'll stay here as long as you need. Okay, let me just scroll through here, see who we have. Okay, Grace has just asked if I can explain how the free traffic thing works with affiliate marketing. Yeah, absolutely, I can. Okay, basically it works like this. If you think, how can I explain this? Okay, you have an offer online. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you're selling a widget, for want of a better word. Selling a magic widget or a magic bean. Okay, now your affiliates, think of them as like a remote online sales force. Okay, they're just individuals. These are individuals that either have their own lists or they're just very good at driving traffic. Okay, they know how to SEO things. They know how to place Facebook ads. They know how to get YouTube traffic. They're just experts in driving traffic. Okay, so let's say that your widget, your magic bean, is for sale at $30. Okay, you're going to go out there. You're going to have this perfect system built, like I explained, all the steps correct. So it's a well-oiled machine. What that means for the affiliates, it gives them a level of comfort to see that you know what you're doing. It gives them a level of comfort to know that if they send traffic to your page, it's going to convert, it's going to sell. And that's important to them because they have costs involved in driving traffic. So they have to convert. Okay, they have to know that when they send traffic to your page, it's going to work, it's going to sell. Okay, and when you do that, you're going to pay them a commission. And that's, it can be anything. It can be 30%, it can be 50%, it can be 75%, it can be 100%. Now, I know you're saying, why would you give away 100% of your commission? Remember what I said about the back end being where you monetize. If the most important thing to you is getting people into your business, then you can give away 100% commission on the front end in order to monetize those customers on the back end by moving them up the value ladder that I discussed. And that's how it works. Obviously, if you give away 100% commission, it makes your offer very, very attractive to affiliates because they know that everything that they sell, every customer that buys, they're going to get 100% of that amount. And that's very, very attractive. It also goes to show them that you have a great deal of confidence in your sales page converting. Okay, it's just, but there's no requirement to give away 100% commission. You can give away 50% or 75%. But just know this: you don't pay anything unless they sell. You don't owe them a penny. The risk is all theirs. That's why it's so leverageable. You can get huge volumes of traffic for no money at all. So I hope that answers the question. But you have to have those steps kind of all worked out. Because if they're not, you struggle to gain affiliates. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions coming through the chat box here. Okay, Phil. What's Phil saying? Phil's just finishing typing up something. Okay, Phil's asking, he says that I labeled the importance of niche research. How do we go about doing that? Okay, I can give you a brief précis because I have training inside the Cash Hive on niche research on how you actually do it and do it correctly, and it's like an hour and something long. So we don't really have. I don't want to spend a whole hour because a lot of people here aren't gonna want to go into niche research that deeply at this stage. But the Cash Hive, very good. If you want to join up there, that's the membership club. It has tons of information in there as well. It's very, very reasonable. Go check that out, thecashhive.com. However, if very basically, all you have to do for niche research is spend some time, and all I ever use is free tools and Google keywords, Google search, a website called keywordspy.com, which is just basically looking at competition in the marketplace. And basically, I just go onto Google, do a search for the kind of products that I'm looking for, and I'm looking for activity in the marketplace. There's no specific fixed number of searches or websites that I'm looking for. I'm just comparing one kind of search criteria against another, one kind of niche against another. So if I was looking at diet products, for example, I might look at weight loss, like Garcinia weight loss supplements, see how many searches that brings up, and compare that to, I don't know, arthritis products. See how many that brings up. And that gives me a direct comparison between two to see how big the market is for each. Okay, and then I'd want to like visit forums, see how much chatter there is in forums and Facebook groups around that issue, to try to get a better idea of how large that marketplace is. And I note this all down. In the Cash Hive will give you a cheat sheet, but you can just do it in any kind of spreadsheet, just making a notation of exactly, so you can compare one niche to the other, and helps narrow down your niche. The other thing you want to do is, once you have your broad niche kind of worked out, you want to drill down into that niche to find the sub niche within it. So say, for example, we had a diet, which or even just Garcinia diet, it's a huge supplement for weight loss. You want to drill down within that to find a sub niche, because it's going to make your website sell and convert better. And what I mean by a sub niche is, if you try to just sell diet Garcinia, okay, yes, you'll get sales, but you're targeting a very broad spectrum. So you're not really speaking to people in a way that is personal to them, which is how you get better converting websites. What you need to do is drill down into that niche and find a sub niche within it. So, for example, diabetes. I don't know whether Garcinia is okay for people with diabetes. You need to do the research with that. But if you research like weight loss diabetes for people between the ages of 45 and 60, and see how big that market is, that's a pretty defined sub niche. So it's a good one to kind of target. You can speak to those people specifically about the problems that are troubling them. And so in that case, it's a very good subsection, a sub niche to target. So I hope that answered your question, Phil. Let's have a look if any more people are sending through questions. No, that looks like it's it for now. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to send it through the help desk. But that will be it for now. I'm going to shut this webinar down. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really do appreciate that. And I will catch you on the next one. Thanks so much, y'all.